mute my YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. I think we're live. We're waiting on Black Phoenix. He'll show up here when he's ready to show up. So we got a lot to talk about today, as usual. Subject matter, not quite as jovial as we usually do. We'll still try to keep it funny and lighthearted, but we're working on some video or some questions for mental health and motorcycle riding. Something I'm sure everybody that's watching, and hopefully will be watching this later, might get some information from. It's a tough subject to talk about. We've all had our ups and downs in life, and some more than others. And we're hoping talking about motorcycles and how it helps us out may help somebody else out in the future that hopefully will be watching this or watching any of our other live streams. Mr. G's on. Oh, Black Phoenix is ready to come on. Let me go check the green room and oh yeah, we're up to 6. All right.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, we haven't started the questions yet. We just came on a couple minutes ago or seconds ago. But just letting everybody know we're talking about mental health and motorcycles, and if anybody has anything they want to add to it, obviously in the side chat, feel free. And I encourage anybody to be as comfortable about talking about it as they see fit, I guess, with the questions. I say we're still going to try and be funny on here today. We don't want everybody falling asleep about this.
But we're going to wait until ABUSA. We're going to wait to see if ABUSA shows up to add the porn element to the mental health element.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if that's what gets you off.
Oh, God.
Whatever works, hey.
Wrong choice of words.
But yeah, we have 5 questions. Like I said, though, if anybody else wants to add to it, we'll probably talk about meetups and other stuff too toward the end. I see we got 9 people.
Yeah.
In
Make sure you hit that like button.
Yeah.
Because there's 9 of you and 6 of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even hit the like button yet.
But, it's opposite day because you're wearing a Harley shirt too.
Yeah, wearing a Harley shirt. I got the board turned around.
That's good stuff.
Doing all kinds of different stuff today. No hat.
I'm waiting to see if I like it or not before I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Well, you won't like it when that McStash character starts talking. It's terrible.
Yeah, right. He don't know when to shut up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if anybody in the chat, anybody in the live stream, of course, if we want to add to the 5 questions, that we kind of threw together this morning. We've been talking about it all week, but I'll say one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, this was kind of my idea to do the mental health. Over the last few weeks, I've seen a lot of people doing stupid shit out there. One thing in particular, there was a gentleman in his 30s. He decided to take his own life, but he did it. Not that any way is a smart way to do it, but he decided to drive on the highway backwards up near Jamestown, New York, going 75 miles an hour. He ran down the highway backwards and killed 2 older people coming the other direction. And a semi hit them from behind after he hit them from the front. This was a person, I didn't know this person. He had, from what they reported, a history of mental illness issues, emotional issues, 30-something years old. It's tough to talk about,
Yeah.
There's other mental health issues out there. Like I'm constantly reading Facebook Jamestown area stuff, and like a woman was going around spitting on people, saying men suck, and just random people, just the stupid shit that I saw over the last few weeks. Just not that we're going to cure mental illness by doing this live stream, but it's just something I think we should talk about. We talk about a lot of stuff on here, and this is something we really haven't delved into yet.
Right. And I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole because I know this is one of the things we're going to discuss. But one thing that really upsets me is whenever you see something like that, where that 30-year-old decided to do that, or you've had the mass shootings and stuff like that. Yeah. Obviously, these people have issues. But it's so stigmatized that, like, for example, Columbine shooting, there were signs all along the route before that fateful day. If somebody had just taken one effing second to look at stuff, they would have said, okay, these boys need help. So I'll leave it at that. We'll go into the stream.
Oh yeah, we'll try to, as hard as that is to do, sometimes we tend to lean off into the politics of it too, and I really, best we can, stay out of that part of it.
Yep.
I would hope everybody can feel comfortable talking about, like I said, if you want to go deep into an issue that you've had in the past or whatever, feel free to do it. Like I said, anybody in the chat, anybody here on this panel, we all know each other. Most of the people in the side chat we've met or talked to through Facebook or Instagram or YouTube at some point, But if anybody else, we got 11 people. I'm going to go ahead and start asking the questions unless anybody else wants to add anything before we go.
Yeah, I'd like to add also, hey, as the live chat goes on, I know we've only got a few people in the live chat right now. But please, if you feel like commenting something, share something, if it's an experience or if it's something that you just need to talk about, feel free. Yeah. This is
that's the whole point of
this. Yeah. It's the entire point of this. This is not supposed to be some multi-hour telethon or mental health awareness and that, but it's a stigma that we want to get around. We want to, and that's what this is about in relation to motorcycling and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's something we've all dealt with ourselves individually. So we definitely want to help.
If you have questions
ourselves, but anybody else that we can.
Yeah, we've already made up some questions and stuff, but feel free if you've got questions, throw them in there, type them in there. If you've got something that you've dealt with and you want to say it in a general way, just ask us, hey, if anybody has dealt with something before, feel free, throw it in there. So I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, and this is going to be something too I've talked about all week. I've kind of stressed about it because I want to keep it still entertaining, but I still want people to think, we're taking this serious.
Yes.
We're not, we're not playing light on the subject matter. Just, anonymous biker's not here to throw the comedy in the side chat yet. So I don't know.
And again, we've all dealt with it at one level or another. So we want to make it entertaining, as CDL said, but we're definitely taking this seriously.
Yeah. Like I said, I do handle some stuff with a little humor too, even if it's something that's a touchy subject.
That's one of my coping mechanisms as well.
Yeah, but we'll go ahead with the questions, I guess, now, since we've already we got 11 people. All right, I'm going to go. All right. Studies have shown riding motorcycles helps with your mental and physical well-being. Can you name in one way that it's helped you? First, we'll start with Toby.
Yeah, I mean, one way with motorcycles, I'm not a big gym rat. So when they say, hey, I go to the gym and bust out the weights, I don't do that much. So, I mean, I used to run, used to walk, all that kind of stuff. But motorcycling, when you jump on that bike and you're just, whether I was motovlogging before or just out there riding, listening to music and, or listening to whatever, people have said, well, it's stressful riding a motorcycle because you got to think about the clutch and the brakes and the shifting and the gears. It's a different type of stress for me. It's a type of stress that takes away your brain from the everyday crap, the junk we all deal with. I mean, it's like I used to do it for riding home and to and from when I was in the Army, and also here at work nowadays. And the cases and stuff that I deal with even as a civilian, that ride home allows me to decompress a little bit and just put that crap behind, if that makes sense. So yeah, it helps.
Right.
Okay, for me, I've had I'll say 3 hobbies in this lifetime that I've really used to help me deal with my depression, anxiety, and other things. First one, video games. I started when I was very young. Still play to this day. Not as much as I used to, but I still do. Scuba diving, which I got into some years ago. I'm a certified dive master, but I haven't been in the water in 13 years. And most recently, riding motorcycles. And of the three, I think the motorcycling is the most helpful for me because not only does everything else melt away. I mean, yes, there's always thoughts in your head, but about everything. But for the most part, for me, when I'm on twos, I don't worry about the rent or the mortgage. I don't worry about the family, so to speak. I mean, obviously they're always in the back of my heart and head and all that, but you know what I mean. I don't worry about work. I don't worry about this. I don't worry about that. And it was the same thing with the other things too. But especially with motorcycling, you have to be present at every millisecond. You don't have time to think about other shit that's getting you down. And not only that, but just it's fun. You got to
keep your head on a swivel the whole time.
Yeah, it's but it's fun as hell.
Yeah,
I mean, if anybody goes back and watches my Why I Ride video, I got into some heavy shit in that. But there was one point in there where I was coming up on a straight street. I think it was Clover, and it was getting ready. The light was getting ready. It was red, so I was, starting to slow down and stop, and then it turned green. And I'm like, boom, and I just got on the throttle, and it was like being a 5-year-old again. So, it just, it immensely helps me in every way, shape, and form.
Hey, Sinister, your question. Uh-oh. I think he froze.
I think he froze.
Yeah, he did freeze.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, there he goes.
How's an IT guy's stuff going to freeze?
It's one of my mini escapes. I have other hobbies, but I get out there and you're stressing over work or whatever. It helps relieve that stress. That's probably why I ride so much. But I have other hobbies. Like I like being outside. I like the peace and quiet. I like to be out in the middle of nowhere and nobody be around, and I'm hiking or I'm fishing or out on a kayak and nobody's around. It's peaceful to me. It's my serenity. So it definitely helps me because I've been in situations where I've been really stressed out, mainly because of work. But it's definitely an escape. It's definitely a decompression. I could be doing a lot of other things that I shouldn't be doing. That would get me in trouble, which more trouble than I get into now. But it definitely helps me. I think sometimes we do things and we don't realize that mentally it's really helping us, but we don't realize it. We don't take it into consideration. We take it for granted. We don't realize what we're doing, not purposely. I think we just kind of find our own ways in life, our own path, and sometimes that's people, being around people, doing what we're doing now. I know it definitely is for me. Riding has allowed me to meet a lot of people like you guys, and talking to you is a decompression for me as well. So we all met through motorcycling. So yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, Mr. McStash.
What he said. Short of really getting into it. Your biggest problem is here. Honestly, you think about work, you think about your wife, your girlfriend, your whatever. You think about
your wife's girlfriend.
Your wife's girlfriend. You think about, oh my God, what is anonymous biker going to bring up in the side chat? No, seriously though, you start processing things in your head, and you really.
What about your wife's girlfriend's beard?
You that would be right there. But you start processing things, and you think, and everybody knows you are your own worst enemy. I'm sorry, it's whatever. One of these guys. But you
there's some background going on. I don't know who it's coming from.
Somebody throw up Looney Tunes. That's a little insensitive. Come on.
It was me. Hang on. Let me turn my phone off. But, and when, like they said, if anybody has seen my Keep Your Eyes Open video, it was not put out there to blame a truck driver or blame me or to blame anybody for doing the wrong thing. It was to show how quickly
it can happen.
Everything changes. Yes. I mean, that is a route I drive. I probably drive that route, take a funeral down that route 3 times a week. It's a very common route. I don't take that lane because I know there's a blind curve there. I take the edge of that lane and hope that people see and get over and leave room so that somebody can duck out if a problem happens. Well, a problem happened. I had room. He either took more room than I thought I gave, or I didn't give as much room as he needed. Whoever, whatever, however, it shows how quickly it happens. Well, you're on a motorcycle. At that point, I'm thinking, truck. I'm not thinking, what did I say wrong to my wife? I'm not thinking, did I pick this up? I'm not thinking, did I plug that in before I left? Did I unplug this? There's nothing to think about but that bike in that situation.
Living through that situation.
Right. And then when you stop, you run into these kind of people, a whole bunch of idiots that are doing nothing but having fun and acting like idiots. And man, you can't beat that anywhere. I'll get a little candid here. I have 3 therapists, but I tell you what, these 5 beat those 3 therapists all day long. I'd rather hang out with these guys and talk to them and not, am I making a progress with my situation? Am I learning that most of my problem is my reaction to the situation? No, I'm not doing any of that. Everything is gone. It's a self-medication that doesn't involve alcohol, and that's one of the biggest problems. I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but that is one of the biggest problems is self-medication and how you self-medicate.
No, you bring up a valid point there, man. I mean, don't be afraid to put that out there. That needs to be said.
Alcohol is a big self-medication, and it leads to more trouble. These guys, I don't think it's going to lead to jail. I mean, it could lead to jail, but these guys are going to lead to laughter. So I think that's why. Well, I'm getting into other questions now, but I think that's why it draws us. Motorcycles draw us in because it's a brotherhood, and I can look at Randy and Sinister Clutch, and just know he's in the same mentality as I am. He's the same level as I am because we're out there filling a tank with gas, putting it between our knees, and setting it on top of an internal combustion engine and going down the road. So that's
not to mention your manhood and everything else on the body.
Yeah, that's why I ride.
All right, Black Phoenix.
Yeah, you brought up a good point of just like everything that goes on up here. There's just so much noise like throughout the day of you just being bombarded by everything, and even when like I'm alone, that noise is still there. Like whether work is done or whatever, you just sit in your office by yourself or whatever, it's still there. So I need something. If I'm not doing something, then I end up being my own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. So you need some sort of hobby or something to get you going, something to focus on. And I did have stuff in the past. I had obviously the pro wrestling was huge when I was younger. And then I tried golf for a little bit, but then I found out I had to talk to people. I'm like, I don't really want to talk to you guys. Not the most interesting people. And then
here it goes.
There he is.
And then then I got back riding with the Can-Ams. So there's then found a whole bunch of groups. I found out there was a local group in my city, which you see these guys riding by and you never know. You never meet them for the most part. Right. And you start riding, and then you're like, oh, these are who these guys are. They've been riding by my house for 3 years. And then mix that with the moto vlogging. It's like that combined is giving me this hobby where I can now keep myself out of trouble. Because otherwise, if I don't have this, and it happened right before I started moto vlogging, I got myself into trouble. I was in court and all that other stuff. So it's keeping me focused. I'm probably missing stuff.
Oh no, you're good. You're
good.
And I will say this again now that other people, you've got other, we'll keep reiterating this stuff. And I can see how this is your show. I'm just saying, but You know what Jason said, it's I don't think there's a stigma here that we should ignore or not get on a soapbox about. Number one. Number two, we all guys, just so you all know in the live chat, we, as usual, we created some questions to stoke the conversation of what we all kind of deal with, but we know these aren't the only ways to deal with stuff. So if you all ask questions in the side chat or my crew, the crew in here, the CDL crew here, I would say, I think it's safe to say that if you have something you want to say, I don't care if it's in order or not, me personally. If it's not in order of the questions, bring it up regardless. If it comes up as a part of your dialogue, so be it.
Yeah, our first question was studies showing mental health, motorcycle riding and mental health. And we're talking about in ways that helps us. I guess it's my question now. The biggest thing for me is working 2 jobs. My first job is only like a mile. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
my first job is
comment fry short of a Happy Meal.
Yeah, my first job is only like a mile and a half away. It's not really a motorcycle ride, but I still ride. I mean, just that little bit of ride to there and back. My regular job, full-time job, is a 40-mile ride one way. I feel so much better, rejuvenated. Doesn't matter how tired I am. I feel so much better when I ride to work. Even that little mile and a half, if I get out of the other job early, I'll take a longer ride home. But basically, that's all we ever do. 5 minutes away to go to get a loaf of bread, it takes us 3 hours. If you're on a motorcycle, that's what we do. We just, all right, I got to get out, excuse to get out, get fresh air, get away from whatever else is going on in the world.
I mean, it's cumulative also.
But, but I got to put a word of caution in there now. Yes, riding to work relaxes you. Riding from work relaxes you. I get that. Yeah. But there's also, you got to remember, there's certain ones of us who are, while we're at work, we know that bike is sitting out there. And when the boss is on our last nerve, it's just too easy to say, you know what, buddy, bye. And walk out there and help on the bike and ride. So I fight that problem.
No, Jason, you bring up a great point there because it brings on 2 things here. One, I was going to ask everybody in the live chat, put a hand up in here or say if you do it, if every day if you get to ride to work, on those days you do ride to work, tell us if you are looking forward, you're counting the clock looking forward to that ride home just as much as you were the ride there. On the same token of that, part 2 of that is, sometimes you do have to decompress before you get on that bike to get those thoughts out of your mind. Because like Jason said, you don't want to be getting on that bike with your mind not right for riding. I mean, one can be just as dangerous as the other. So,
definitely makes you want to tell everybody, shove it up your butt. I'm going for a ride. It's a nice day. And
there's been many times I've been on the bike with that 40-mile ride, and I get about 35 miles in. I'm like, I got a phone here. I don't know. Maybe I should call it. But my thing is, every time I've called off, I've never gone for a ride because my thing is karma. That's the day I'm going to wreck my fucking bike. Is the day I call off sick going to work. Oh, I can't come in. I don't feel good. Yeah. Jump on the bike and get hit pulling out of the driveway.
That's used to say, call in slick to work, not sick.
Yeah. I got a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, I pretty much commute every day that I can up here.
Yeah.
Rain, whatever. I work 10 minutes away, so I usually just take back roads and find the longest route to work.
Yep.
Or the longest route home, either one, depending on how the day goes.
Yeah.
But then, working in IT, sometimes it's like, oh, now you got a 12, 13-hour day, and you brought the bike, and then you're like, oh, now I got to ride this thing home.
Yeah.
So.
And actually, that's something I wanted to bring up that kind of sparked my at least 3 of us that I know for sure are definitely working in IT or in some capacity. And it seems like, because a lot of people, we've all said about work, being one of the major stressors for us. As technology has gotten better and enables us to be more productive, it's also allowed the powers that be to throw more on us because we're able to do our I mean, I don't know about you all, but I've gotten to the point where I've optimized my job down to I could probably get my job done in like 3 hours a day. But then they see that and they're like, okay, do this, and this.
Well, you bring up another point there, Derek, because I mean, not only does it make it more efficient with working, a bunch of them smart fellers in here, and I ain't IT though, but you also
No,
got
it's called learning from the school of hard knocks, brother.
But it's not just that; it's also the pandemic even highlighted. I think it taught people that hey, we can work from home and still do things. The problem with that is it isolates us. You know, and some people they want that isolation. They're introverts, and there's others that they might be introverts, but the human interaction that they had at work still was interaction. It was still on a subconscious level or whatever. It was still interaction. Still, you know. I mean, how many housewives we all known out there that were moms that, hey, when my kids grew up to teenagers, I started actually having adult conversations again. You know, it's same concept.
Yeah, there's nothing better than that feeling too after a bad day at work, starting up your loud ass motorcycle and just, go, get going, head home. Doesn't matter, 40 miles, 2 miles.
Yeah, technique nails it right there because that's the same as here. I've been teleworking since they sent us home in 2020. We go in one day of the week, so I enjoy the interaction.
Same here. My days in the office are Mondays and Fridays. I actually prefer being in the office.
Yeah.
Nope.
Randy's like, nope.
Don't get it twisted.
Wrong.
There's a lot of things that are benefits to working from home, but I'm, in my particular position, I work in pediatric residency, so I know how much stress my residents are under. I mean, we just lost a patient recently. COVID has made census real high, so I try to do everything I can to help them, deal with their mental health issues.
Dude, it's way too early to be nipping on that bottle. I don't know what he's smoking or drinking, but he's
It's funny, everyone's talking about being remote in a pandemic. I was never remote. Like they laid some people off, but with what I do in IT, the systems admin and the infrastructure and stuff behind it, I still had to go in. I was still going into the office working. I mean, the commute was great. There's no one on the roads, but
bingo, yes,
that was great. But
people had to learn to drive again.
Yeah, there was still probably a skeleton crew at the office, and we had to still get some stuff done.
Yeah, when they told us, I mean, we all got furloughed for 3 weeks, starting in March of 2020 when COVID first hit. But after that, I volunteered to be the in-office person because, again, like I said, I prefer to be in the office. So, is what it is.
I'm approaching 10 years.
At home?
Yeah.
I'd be bouncing off the
since
walls.
2013. Yeah.
Nice.
July will be 10 years. I love
Would
it.
you come? What did you do? Come out and they said go home?
No.
Yeah, see the closets right behind him.
No, I got recruited and I was like, they're like, it's 100% work from home. I said, sign me up.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah. This was way before COVID.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of miss COVID when it was big because I drive to work and everybody was at home.
Yep.
Like I'm essential. I have to show up to work. I'm like, good. There's nobody on the damn road except for me and the truck drivers.
I agree with Anonymous Biker. He says I'm a remote even though I'm there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I usually get to work and then I start a few hours later.
Well, one thing to keep in mind too for those that have been, either chose to go hybrid or been forced to go hybrid, a lot of businesses save a lot of money by doing that. They don't. I mean, yes, obviously, they have to pay lease money for the square footage, or if they already own the building, they're saving on electrical or this, that, or other thing. I mean, one person, me and my department not being there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday doesn't make that much of a big deal, but multiply that by 30,000 people, it adds up.
And the problem with that is, and I'm not knocking what you're saying, Derek, because you're absolutely right. I would add to that to say that the challenge though is those corporations or companies, small business or not, they need, if they're going to cut back like that, they have to balance it out and add some kind of addition to help the social means for those people. I mean, they really need to, because you're talking about
Zoom doesn't count.
What? That's. I mean,
I'm being facetious.
But every single person out there has some level of, whether it's Zoom, whether it's in person. We used to, I know our work, when after they did that, they were constantly sending emails out of bulletins and announcements of, hey, we have family life consultants, or we have this person, these kind of people you can reach out to if you need to talk to somebody. If we did MS Teams meetings or Zoom meetings once a week or something, just stuff to give you outreach, because you shut people off like that. And I'm sorry, I don't care how much of an introvert you are.
Yeah.
You need some kind of interaction, some kind.
Well, that's why I say I'm a people person that doesn't like people.
Even it means you're blocking trucks from hitting you on the highway, McStash. It's still interaction.
That's my interaction.
Right. It's you and a pull boy. What the hell, AB?
All right, we'll go to the second question here. While many people ride to improve their mental health, do you feel some people are solely drawn to riding for that reason?
You start with me or go in reverse?
No, you.
Oh.
Yeah, you get it, man.
I could see where people would do that. I mean, I've seen where, it's no different than, well, for the health purpose, it's probably no different than doctors telling somebody, hey, you need to start working out, or you need to start walking once a week or twice a day or once a day or whatever it is. I mean, a doctor's going to tell, a psychologist or shrinker is going to tell somebody, hey, find something to get your mind on something else occasionally, whether it's golfing, whether it's biking, whatever the hell it might be. I mean, just saying. There are probably people out there that considered it and did it.
Okay, Jonathan, your question.
Yeah, I would say that yes, I could see people doing that, but probably not as much as we might think. I mean, everything in life is a calculated risk, but getting on twos or even threes, for that matter, we've seen the way people drive, right, McStash?
Right.
It's you're taking a risk every time you get out there. That's why I don't remember who posted it, but I responded to somebody's Instagram thing where it was basically, do you wave to non bikes that are bikes that are not your brand or style? I'm like, I wave to everybody. I said, I don't care if you're on the road on a freaking unicycle, you bet your ass you're getting a wave, because you're putting yourself in the same danger that all of us do every day. And that's why I think there's that almost immediate connection with a lot of us. It's just
I've pulled over, and when I've seen AB roll by on a Vespa, I've pulled over and bowed down because it's so dangerous to get on those, on that kind of 7 horsepower thing on a highway. It's AB's crazy with that kind of shit. So I'm like, hey, you got AB, go for it.
Yeah, he's got nitrous. He's got nitrous on that though, so he's good. He's good for about.
Oh, so that's got 12 horsepower. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I definitely can see people doing that. But again, like I said, it's a calculated risk. So I mean, but as Toby mentioned, I mean, I have had my therapist in the past tell me, you need to find something else to occupy your time. You can't just sit there and stew. So up to you now, Randy.
Who's beating their meat under the desk?
Somebody's beating it.
What's going on?
No.
Yeah, I believe it draws people only because I've met people and they've actually told me that they have PTSD, and they said, I was trying to find a way to decompress or help with that. Whether it's, some people can get a dog or whatever, but I've had people tell me that they got into riding to help with their PTSD.
Nice.
So yeah, I believe it is. I mean, I haven't talked to every veteran that rides a bike, but I imagine just that's why a lot of them ride.
2, 3.
He's
I think it's
Ivory rhythm stick. Sorry.
what in the world?
That's a racist comment.
What? I'll keep it short. That's all. That's good.
That's what she said.
Yeah. She found out otherwise.
So now we know what we're hearing underneath your desk there, Randy.
Oh, is that me? I didn't even know.
Hey, Mr. McStash.
I don't know that I have an answer for that. I think it's. I used to ride with, we'll call it exclusive bikers. I won't use the 1%er because I don't know. I used to ride with a bunch of exclusive bikers, and there were things done to keep people away. There are certain clubs when you patch in, your patch is what's the word I'm looking for? Your patch is hazed. We'll say that your patch is hazed. Your colors are hazed. One club that meant getting peed on. You put your colors on and they peed on it.
That's because it wasn't dirty enough yet. Haven't you seen Beyond the Law?
Yeah, that's what it is. No, the reason was there, honestly, for the smell. So you now exuded a smell that people did not want to be around you. That was why I was drawn to the biker community, is because
the smell.
I mean, the smell. Yeah, exactly. You know what? If it smells like me, ain't nobody gonna be around. So I ain't gonna deal with the idiots.
I'm just waiting for a comment from AB on this one.
It's gonna have to be someone who sees past that smell.
It just smells like asparagus.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to have to be somebody who wants to be a part of the crowd, not somebody who just wants to fit in. Oh, I'm going to hang out with these guys because they're bikers and they're bad.
He said you got the GSB MC, the Golden Shower Bikers MC.
Yes, that was exactly who I run with. I didn't know that anybody knew about them, but it's Anonymous knows about them because he thought it was something else, so he tried to join. But no, but that's what it was. Road name was Papa Peep. No, that was not my road name.
No, it's getting back to Presidente now.
Pee-pee. My name was Master Pee-pee. Let it rain.
At least they're a 1%er, not 2%er group.
Right. You don't want to add numbers there.
Oh my.
Hey, Black Phoenix, your question.
Yeah, follow that, buddy.
Yeah.
If you can't piss on you.
I think that's interesting though, how people get into riding, especially if you look at the Can-Ams and the trikes over the past few years, getting people who probably wouldn't normally have ridden riding now because it's more accessible. And kind of like what would happen with me. I thought I was out. I'm like, oh, I can't ride anymore or whatever. And then you see these things pull up and you're like, hey, what are those things? Then you start getting interested in it and masturbating. Oh, nice. But yeah, as far as probably someone trying to find a hobby, and then you see these, hey, maybe I can do this trike, maybe I can do that one, maybe I can do this bike, and then they start, the wheels start turning, and you're like, oh. And then you start meeting people, and there are a bunch of different, like Mr. McSash was saying, there's a bunch of different groups out there. You could find a like-minded group that you could join, and then you, again, with you guys here, you probably wouldn't have normally met unless you started riding. So,
I think that's the whole reason why clubs started in the first place. A lot of people got out of the military and they missed that. I guess that's part of your mental health, family, brotherhood. That's, everything's really related to mental health, obviously. Not just I think that's where the motorcycle club, not that I'm part of a club or anything like that, Mickey Mouse Club, but
Real glad that's a question only McStash can answer.
yeah, I think it's people probably do ride motorcycle just for that purpose. I think later on they may do it for other reasons, but
Right.
it's
No, I think that's a great one because I mean, World War II. They got out, came back from the war, then Vietnam, they came back, Korea, whatever, they came back, and they realized they missed that structure. They were around, people fighting in combat, high stress environments, and seeing some god awful things that the normal population will never ever see and even comprehend. So they come home and they're walking around and seeing flashbacks and nightmares of all this crap, and joining those MCs, those brothers, whether they were, back then they weren't clubs yet per se, they were just a group of riders that formed MCs eventually. And I mean, that was their outlet. That was their way of surviving. What's that?
Safe place.
Yes.
I mean, I know from my military transition, if a coworker and everybody will get this, if a coworker said, "Hey, I'll take care of that," it was done. You didn't have to worry about it. We had SOPs. Everything was a standard operating procedure. You could pick up the job I was doing because you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. There was no variance on it. It was almost structured to a fault.
Yeah.
And when you got away from that, it was a huge hole in your life. That's why a lot of military has problem transition to regular life, because it's a whole lifestyle. It's a whole, and I hate to say it, it's a whole mentality. It is but a brainwash. And I mean, because when it's built into you so hard, it becomes a reaction, not a thought. So when those rounds start flying
muscle
down,
memory, it's instinctive. Absolutely.
You start actioning. You don't start thinking about, oh crap, it's getting ugly. You start doing, and that's why they design you that way. So, I mean, that's why it becomes a brotherhood and a need to fill that emptiness.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same concept when you go to a civilian life. I mean, my wife Kylie and I have talked about this numerous times because she's just starting to work at H&R Block, and she's got that. She's a math type person. She likes the left and right limits that are easily distinguished, that are clearly defined, and that's all there is to it. She loved that. She thrived on that when she was in the military, but she gets into this stuff, and she's like, there's no regulation that says this other than you show up at this time and you show up at this, or you go home at this time. But if a person in the civilian sector, and this is not any knocking on any other person, if you haven't been in the military, it's just saying, especially with today's youth, we talk about it, there's no value in that. So if a person feels like calling in sick just because they don't feel like working that day, and it could be a rainy day, so they can't even go ride, there's nothing to say, hey, your accountability sucks. Well, I don't care.
All right. We'll go to the third question. Can you remember a time or instance where it did not help you or only made it worse? Ignoring the side chat.
Yeah, maybe in his next video title with Dan and his I only have one muscle memory.
At his age, that muscle don't work anymore. So whatever.
Shots fired.
Well, I would say Dan's working.
Sorry, Dan.
But we all know Dan laughs his ass off, so I would say that his one muscle that works is the mouth because he laughs so much.
Right?
That could be taken a whole different way too. So,
yeah. Can you remember a time or instance where it didn't help you or made it worse? Writing.
I don't think so. I mean, other than starting from home or being out on a road trip, whatever, and just crap happens and you're like, I'm just not feeling it today. Because I'm a big advocate on, yes, getting on that bike and riding for therapy. But if my mind is on something so deeply, I'm not putting my life or others at risk because that's a dominating thought. If it means I have to go for a walk or something instead or whatever, then that's so be it. There's just a certain line where sometimes a motorcycle doing something mobile, just walking around or putting some headphones on and just getting lost in some music, or readings, whatever the case might be. Sometimes in my case, that's where maybe it might not.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we're talking about here is it's motorcycling and mental health though, right? I mean, the key on this is it's not just motorcycling. It's what are your avenues of mental health release? What, and that was a bad choice of words for release. So. Anyway.
Normally I would have said the day of my accident, but I've grown since then. And I believe that whatever higher power or what have you decided that I was going to have that as a teachable moment for me. I made it through. I will say no. Every time I've ridden, I've ended up better, even when it's been crappy out. I've had a lot of close calls. I've had my accident. I learned from it that day. It took me some time to realize it, like 18 months, but I did learn from it. I mean, and to be completely honest with everybody, just to show everybody here how serious I am about this subject and what we're trying to do here today. I have ideation every day. Every day I have thoughts of ending it. I've never acted on it. Sometimes it's worse than others. My family knows it. I have a very good support system behind me, but it happens. Every time I get on, it's better. But I just wanted to point that out so that everybody understands where I'm coming from personally. And also as a secondary to that, one thing that between Jason and then Toby from the last question we're talking about at the end there, another thing that it's really a kicker for those of us who have served, no matter what area, what MLS, whatever, you come back and you have issues due to that service, and your Uncle Sam treats you like shit afterwards. For an example, I won't go into detail into it, but I will tell you this. When I got back from the Persian Gulf years and years and years ago, I had a skin condition that I had never had before in my life. Went to the VA. VA looked me over. Doctor inspected me, said, Dominus Ominous, you're good to go. Get the hell out of here. Sure enough, when they did that, that new presumed list recently for those that served in the Persian Gulf. Skin condition, sure as shit, is on there. So, it just, to go and serve and do everything that you had to do, no matter what it was, and then to get treated like that when you come back, I have no idea. My father's a Vietnam veteran himself, so I have no idea what they went through when they came back. And just going through what I've personally been through and what I've heard other veterans that I've talked to who are more recent veterans have gone through. I couldn't even imagine. So, as always.
The skin condition, was it like an eczema type thing or bacteria or something you can comfortable talking about?
Yeah. It's more like eczema. Like, for example, I had a procedure done a couple weeks ago that I'm not going to get into. It's nothing, whatever, but it's GI issues. That's all I'll say. So I had a GI procedure done. I don't know, been about a month now, and they have to put the leads on you so they can check your EKG, make sure you're still breathing and living and all that while they're doing the procedure. And
that's what Dan does with Brenda every single time they get active.
So then when, the procedure only took like an hour. Obviously, I was put under general anesthesia, so I had to come out of anesthesia and all. I had to wake up and all that. But the leads were only on me for like maybe an hour and a half. Those lead marks were still there like 4 days later. That's exactly what my skin has been like ever since I came back from the Persian Gulf. That's how my skin was when I went to the VA damn near 30 years ago. And they still told me GTFO. I didn't want anything for it at the time. I just wanted to annotate it so if my shit starts, my skin starts falling off, I've got it in my record.
Yeah.
So, and as always, everybody in this chat, everybody, obviously you all brothers here in the live stream, us six, you all know I'm always available to anybody. I'm not on 24/7, but I will get back to you, and I'm always here to listen.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
No,
You're good, man.
I'm just listening, man. That's why I stay quiet. But no, I don't think so, unless I'm in traffic and it drives me insane, and then eventually I get aggravated and take a shoulder. Which is probably not good. But I need to release my frustration.
That was a bad motion to do when you're saying that on camera.
Something like that. I'm like, but no, I mean, I think I just forget about everything. I think the sound of the motor and then the wind there's something calm about it, and it relaxes me, and I don't think about anything else. I think about there's that period where everything just calms down and you don't hear the noise. So therapy. So
yeah,
I
mean, that's it for me, keeping it simple and sweet.
Stage.
Damn. I guess maybe I'm the only one. Yes, I have. There was a time, I don't remember where we was at, but there was, dumb people on the road, same as always, same as everywhere. I got a little road rage going. I started driving aggressive instead of defensive. And the wife said to me, if you do not get me off this motorcycle, I will never get on it again. We were hangry, for one. Like I said, people had been driving out. And oh, yeah, I needed a Snickers. We need a little bit more Snickers. But there was that. When we go on a long trip, people say, well, what if it rains? Well, you get wet. It's some of the best times you're going to have. It is hard to have.
VAM 2021, brother.
Time. Yeah. It is hard to have a bad time on a motorcycle, but it can be done. That's one of them. Now, a lot of I ride every day for a living. It's a job. At times, it's not so great, especially in the winter. It doesn't pay so well in the winter. In the summer, it pays awesome. Obvious reasons there. There are times when we go on a long trip, we plan 400 miles a day. Everybody's like, well, 400 miles a day is easy. Well, if you do the math on it, and I've got it right here from Eureka Springs to Galveston, Texas, the shortest path is 9 hours and 46 minutes by GPS. Me and the wife did it in a day and had plenty of time left over. Some days you can get on that bike and you can go like mad and nothing can bother you. But there's other days when you're hungry, people are being idiots. I've said it before, the Senna is awesome, but the problem with the Senna is the wife is in your ear.
Mm-hmm.
I love my wife to death, but there's certain times she don't need to be talking. And it's the same with my friends here. There's certain days it don't matter what you say. I don't care how nice you're being to me. I've had enough. AB USA, shut up! I've had enough, man. There's times like that, and I can pick on him. He can take it, but yes, I have had those times, and it's not it's not fun to be on the bike. The bike can't solve that problem, can't solve that itch, but at that point, nothing can. So yeah, it does get to that point. I'll put it out there. I am 100%. I am 100% disabled with diagnosed with PTSD. And there's times that nothing, even my wife can't. She's more of a problem than not. So yeah, there are those times, but we'll get off that right that way to see. Yeah, Andy knows Mrs. McStash very well. Yeah, that's what'll happen.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you, Jason. It's because it's like you brought some memories back for me from riding. There's been times where I've been more on the aggressive side than the defensive side of whatever, and you got to, even when you're not, I feel like that's a constant maintenance between a balance every biker has to maintain, defensive versus aggressive riding. You have to make decisions about that. But there have been times where I've been pissed off riding, and my wife she'll kind of, it's not a habit she does all the time, but sometimes she will fall back away from me leading. She'll fall way back behind me. She's like, I'm just not going to get involved with you in the cars that might try to do something. So,
and in your mind, you're protecting her. You're building the shield from, and in her mind, you're being an idiot. And that's where I say that the riding doesn't develop in my mind like it should, because now I'm no longer riding for the enjoyment. I'm riding for the aggression or for the defense, or for whatever reason. That's
trying to kick a door or window in on a car.
yeah, and I have done it. I have slapped a window. Shouldn't. It's not very smart. That car just needs to, and you're in trouble. But yeah, I've pounded on a window before. So anyhow.
Yep. Okay, Black Phoenix, your question.
Yes, similar to Randy and Jason, is there just certain types of situations that you just get in and then it stops being fun? You're just the overly aggressive. And I've taken shoulders on highways before. It's backed up. You're like, when's the next exit? Oh, it's a mile down. And you just kind of weave in and out and make your way down there. But it usually starts out like that. And then you can kind of, depending on how long the ride is, whatever, you can get yourself out of it. And then it starts being fun again. Like long days of work. I don't want to work 14 hours in IT and then come back and be like, oh, now I got to ride home. Like first couple of miles, like, oh, this kind of sucks. And then you start getting, you're getting yourself back, be like, oh, this is why I ride. This is why I like, doing what I'm doing.
And a damn thing wrong with Billy Ocean.
Nice. But I don't, in general, for me, I don't think there's ever been a real situation where I'm just like a danger to myself, basically, where it's just like, it's been so bad. It's always, started off like, okay, a little aggressive, and then you kind of smooth it out and you're like, all right, this is good. And I think it's a good point. Myself, I've never been in the military or anything, but I've known several Marines, and the way you guys are talking are very similar to how I've heard conversations with them and what they've talked to me about them coming back from their civilian life. And it's amazing how similar it is. Especially me on the outside, never knowing, or probably will never know at that point at my age what that stuff is. And they had a lot of the same problems, and one of them did end up in jail, just because he just couldn't assimilate back into society correctly. So,
well, there's guys out there, there's men and women both who, and I'm not trying to keep it so military, but I mean, there's people out there, it could be job too. It's civilian side. It's what your brain and your emotions can handle, right? I mean, you can be in the middle of something. Hell, paramedics, EMTs do it all the time. They witness something that it was a limit or a snap they couldn't cope with, and you could still be serving. You could still be doing something in that job, and your coping mechanisms that you have after that duty time frame are not helping. Like Jason said, the alcohol thing, there are people that will go and straight to alcohol or drugs, medication of some kind, and it doesn't help. I was there in Germany after my divorce, my first wife, and it almost caused my military career because I came to work like damn near drunk on duty one time, and in the old days it was, hey, go home and sleep it off. You know, if your first time ever that happened, and go home and sleep it off in the military. That was the old days, but I didn't have a boss like that. They tried to take me through the ringer, but didn't happen, and I worked through it. I had some really good friends to help me through, though.
Yeah. There's been a few times I've been on the bike where you're like, you know what, this isn't helping at all. You get out there and like, it's too easy to take that throttle and say, fuck it, I'm just going to go as fast as this thing will go. You know, we don't have lane splitting here. I'm not going to go out and act like one of those jackasses that are, you know, yeah, lane splitting's legal, but you're also supposed to be only, 5 miles an hour faster than what the traffic is when you're doing it, or 10, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You got these guys zipping through, and then, it's the other guy's fault for coming over a little bit. Well, if you're going 100 miles an hour up through there, they can't see you. Same thing. Anytime you're on the bike, there's times I've been in my truck and I didn't see somebody walking on the sidewalk, ready to cross. You got that. Just whatever. If there's been times that you're so pissed off leaving a job or something else wasn't working right at home, you're trying to fix something, it wouldn't work, and just you get on the bike, well, this will make me feel better. Jackass cuts you off. It's like, the rage kicks in. Having a high horsepower motorcycle doesn't always help, or a low horsepower motorcycle doesn't help. You get out there and do stupid shit. You get into caveman mode. Best I can describe it, you get into caveman. Ooh, I'm angry. I'm going to take it out on somebody else. Being stupid, going high rate of speed. You're not protected on a motorcycle or a 3-wheel bike, whatever. The guy in the truck's going to walk away from it. The guy, the woman in the car that cut you off, she's walking away from it. You're not. You do something stupid. There's just times like, you know what, I'm going to go back home. This isn't working.
The vehicle always wins every time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's at fault.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the reasons why I've thought about it for aesthetics or for looks, but I won't ever buy or carry a get back whip on my bike.
Yeah.
It's too easy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get the purpose, and some people have them, but I just, in a fit of rage, that one swing, and then you got a car that's going to say, you know what, F you. You don't realize how vulnerable you are.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you're out there having a bad day, you don't need to make somebody else have a bad day because they're gonna win every time.
Sorry, officer. I swerved to miss the cat.
Yeah. Or you hear somebody has like a pocket full of like marbles or bearings or BBs or something, and I throw them. They get too close. Yeah, they get too close when they run your ass over too, and you piss them off.
I have a bumper sticker on my truck, and I'll put the same damn one on my bike. Right. It says the closer you get, the slower I go. That's how I deal with them.
Yeah.
If you want to get up and run on my ass, if you want to go around me because you think I'm going too slow, go for it.
Another reason why I'll never lane split here in New York. I mean, it'll never get legalized here. But even if it did, I wouldn't do it because I don't trust fuckers. They'll see you coming up in gridlock. They'll get pissed off. They'll purposely make you screw up.
Yeah. For those of you.
Andy, I have not seen that.
For those of you that don't ever drive through New York State or Pennsylvania, people suck. You go, and I'll say this: going down south, people are a lot friendlier. You go into New York State and you see all these angry motherfuckers out in the road, man. Almost everybody is a offensive driver, not defensive. People don't give a shit if they come over in your lane. They don't care. I'm going to pass you. Even though you're already 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, I have to be in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just so they can be in front of you at the next stoplight.
Yeah, and then they stop and make a right turn like a half a mile later.
Well, that problem I have in my city problem I have in New Bedford is it's an old city, and these streets are really wide, but they're only one lane. And like if you're on a bike, then people are trying to pass you on a one-lane road anyways.
Fucking damn, man.
It kind of.
Sorry. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Finish
now
your-
you're talking
finish
about
your
your
thought,
mouth,
BP.
Dan.
That's Randy's daddy there.
Well, from what Dan just said, that's not Randy's daddy. Randy is Dan's daddy.
One of them usually ends up with a sore ass when they ride. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, they sure spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. Yeah. For anybody that's watching this, while it's not live, you're missing out on the chat. You guys should be watching this when we're live because the live chat's usually the most entertaining part of it. Sometimes.
Yeah, because we're a bunch of boring, mentally disturbed motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They're tripping balls.
Wait, that's what's in the live chat.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to question number 4.
Please.
This one will probably fall into the sexual part too. Does a certain type of riding affect you mentally more than another? I'll leave the side chat for one answer, and then we'll go here for another. By that I mean highway curves, or even trails, or whatever else they want to talk about in the side chat.
That doesn't change the ansers.
Yeah, like 2 up, 3 up, 3 at a time.
That's just that's just context. That's just factors. That's just variables you add into how you ride.
No life till leather, either way. All right.
So we're just skipping this, right? We already know the answer.
Oh my
We're
goodness!
saving that for the OnlyFans video. That's right after this.
Right.
We're getting to the point where we need to have like the live stream set, and then after the live stream is done, we go back and respond to comments.
I might have to have a members only page on YouTube. So that way we don't get reported by people that are already signed up for this mess. I'll just have a little waiver you have to sign online before you join.
Hey, that's their problem, in my opinion, because this goes full circle back to the whole mental health thing. I mean, this is the laughter, what you all say in the live chat.
Coping
it's all
mechanism.
therapeutic. It helps. It's coping. It's period.
Yeah.
If she's 40, it's a short ride. $100 in a lot of twisting.
Oh boy, we got porno music.
Okay, AB. So you're saying that's all that stuff, but you're not talking about the motorcycle. Now talk about what the prices are with the motorcycle involved.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
All right.
Oh man!
I think we kind of all answered that question more or less.
Right,
Without ever going around.
If you're riding, it's helping. Done. There you go.
Right. If you're riding something, 2 wheels, 4 wheels, 4 on 4, whatever, 2, 3.
Head down.
If she doesn't have wheels,
Yes, Mr. G, you did, sir. You did.
Whether you have, it's whether you have ape hangers or she has ponytails. It don't matter.
Hey, you know what? All you gotta do is grab onto the handlebars and hang on. That's all I'm
Right.
All right. We'll go to the last official question.
Oh, Road Glad Andy, really?
Oh, boy.
Yuck, man.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't know about the 4 legs thing.
Come on,
there ain't no Middle Easterns in here that I know of.
you can't say that.
G got me dying over here.
Well, that's what they say over in the Middle East. That's how they invented condoms. They used to use the skins, the goat skins. They said 100 years later, they actually took them out of the goats.
Get your goat.
Hey, If you can't ride due to the weather or temps, etc., does it help to watch other moto vlogger channels or make it worse?
4 legs is 2 sisters. That's my answer to that question. Whoa.
What happened?
Yeah, we're kind of
That was a hell of a magic trick. That was one hell of a magic trick.
Yeah. No, I know, right?
We're having some issues. Hang on, if you guys can
That's
still
what
hear
she
me.
said.
It's all right. We can still hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm having a power issue again.
Honest, Dad, I was helping the sheep over the fence.
Oh man!
Yeah, there we go.
Talking about sheep. All that talking about sheep, Chris had to disappear.
Yeah, I had to go tend to the.
But I will say, in answer to your question, whenever somebody talks about like live streams or the chats or the content, that kind of thing on YouTube, I mean, just look back at the pandemic time frame. I mean, that is a testament of how much it probably helped people in general, because live streaming I know like the military biker, I know CDL, I think yours kind of kicked off around that same time frame. I mean, it gave you an opportunity to talk to people, interact with people either live or just in chats or whatever the case might be on social media. So I mean, did it help to when you couldn't ride or in bad weather? Maybe, but I'd say the content does it gives you an outlet. It gives you a way to lose your brain in something other than what's disturbing you or what's bothering you, in my opinion. So
yeah.
Alrighty. As far as me, it really depends on my mood. Like Toby, for the most point, yes, it does help. That being said, sometimes when I'm really, really in the middle of it, I live in Western New York. I mean, I don't live in Buffalo, but I live close enough that, and yes, we've had a very mild winter this year, but it can get pretty nasty. And there's sometimes where I'm so down in the dumps that I really don't even want to be around anything that makes me think of motorcycles, because it's just going to depress me even more. But for the most part, yes, it does help. Those that live in warmer climates, you guys are lucky SOBs. I've actually thought about, sometime in the near future, moving to a more temperate climate so I can do that, or snowbirding, or, getting into some sort of winter activities here and all that. But then, of course, there's always the option, which I may be being forced to this. The 6 of us kind of know more about this now than the general public, but I've got some health issues going on right now, and this just adds fuel to the fire. Not being able to ride year round. I've been thinking about going to 3. That new Road Glide 3 has really caught my eye.
I thought you were going to say a threesome. I'm like, wow, okay, stepping it up.
No. I'm always going to want to have some sort of 2 wheels, but those who follow me on Instagram know that last week I had a bout of vertigo and dizziness. Well, it came back this Saturday. I've had it since Saturday morning, not the vertigo, but the dizziness. And I'm scared shitless to be. I mean, I don't want that shit to happen when I'm on 2s, I mean, granted, it's no better on 3s to an extent, except for the fact that I can't tip it over. So, my hand may be forced before I even have that choice. But know that I'm gonna ride for as long as I physically can, and I don't care what people say. I don't care if it's 2 wheels, 3 wheels, or even one of those specialized 4-wheeled jobbers that place out in Arizona makes. So, but
Honest biker, you bring up a good point there. It's not kind of off topic, but I know a buddy of mine who retired out of Fort Bragg, I think it was, or Campbell, Fort Campbell, one of the two. The dude retired out from there and went down to live in Honduras. I mean, money goes a lot further. So
I've heard that too. All right. And on to you, Randy.
All right. It helps, but I mean, I try to do other things like something motorcycle related, whether there's like events going on or like a bike show or something like that. And I do stuff to keep my mind off of it. And if I have upgrades to do on my bike, I'll do that if I can. Or plan for next year's vacation. That's some stuff I do. Typically try to do that. But no, I don't let it bother me. There's always a transition from one hobby to another. You can do something else with your time. So that's kind of what I tried to do. But, you know, it does help to watch and see what everybody else is doing, because a lot of times, you know, they're not doing it at that time. They might have done it back in the summer and they just put the video out. But it's like, oh, where did they go? Where did they stay? And then you're like, oh, let me write all this down. And then I can go to these places and check them out. And that's part of planning. If I'm going somewhere, okay, then I'll go to YouTube and be like, where did people go at this place? What roads? Where did they eat at? Where did they stay? So then I'll write all that stuff down if I'm going to that area and check it out. So I use that as to help me with the winter. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Yeah, I got to agree a lot with Randy on this one. It does help. It gives it, because if nothing else, it gives me a chance to plan what I'm doing next. I can say, like this year, we're going up to the Northeast area up there, New York, and in that area. And I have found so many, just being on YouTube, was it Mount Washington and Hawk's Nest, and there's some really good riding up in the Northeast area of the United States. I would have never thought that. It's like the people coming to the meetup here in Ohio. They're like, Ohio has good roads. Dude, Ohio's got some killer roads. I did the same thing. I thought New York, Maine, all that up there, they can't have any good roads. But that's a mountainous area. It's got to have some good roads, and it does. And Roy's Moto Vlogs and some of those guys up there, Ben, I'm going to hit a bunch of them up while I'm up there. It's going to be a good time. So yes, watching does help me plan for my next trip. So I think it helps. Yeah, but I mean, I do ride year round, so whatever.
Hey.
Yeah. So, yeah, one thing for me is like I'm watching other people's channels. Like when they're doing like reviews and stuff, it's like jackets, helmets, gloves, stuff like that. That's great because it's easy. I can look at it and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. And actually, someone I somewhat know is doing a review on it instead of me just kind of, scrolling through a website or whatever. That kind of stuff helps me because I'm, looking for different gear or even like just like Can-Am stuff. I'll hit up a couple Can-Am channels and be like, all right, what are these guys doing? What's the new stuff that's out? And that's pretty much all I can do for the winter. I can't ride up here at all. Even this week is going to be all rain and possibly snow again. So I'm not even going to be able to take the bike out. So I was hoping this weekend, but again, it's New England. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've already installed a couple mods on the Riker already in storage. So I was able to film that. Those videos will come out. So can still find ways to make content and then still catch up on everybody else and see what everyone else is doing. And it's fun I keep up with a lot of the local guys too. It's just, you tend to find people as you start searching around the motovlog. People are like, oh, I know where like Ben, I know a lot of the places that he goes. Then it's 508 Knucklehead, we live in the same city. So it's funny, we'll watch each other's videos and we're like, we know exactly where the person was and when. It's cool to see something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like going back and watching a lot of like the VAM videos and of course Sturgis videos and not even just mine, other people's trip videos. Kind of get you in that, I got to start planning my trip out for the year. I've already got my 2 motorcycle trips planned out. Got a camping trip. Obviously, I got to get that camper out. That's, of course, concert. So it does help to watch other people's stuff. It's obviously not going to be the same as going out and doing it yourself. And, of course, you can always feed off other people's ideas, right? When I get a chance to do something, I can kind of go off on a tangent of what they did in the video. It just for lack of a better statement, I guess it's better than nothing. Is the way I would put it. It's nice to have that communication too. You know, the biggest part of the meetups is always just talking to everybody, not necessarily going out and writing. I've always said that with all the meetups. Writing's the second best part, you know.
Well, the VAM videos were good. I went back because VAM 22 was so much bigger than 21.
Yeah.
Like you weren't able to see everybody or meet everybody, and you kind of see everyone's different point of view of where they were. Because one of those rides, I think we were at least 30 deep. You know, Mr. G. So it was nice to see that.
Yeah.
Well, that's like any rally. I mean, he's, you know, bless him. He's learning, or he has learned. You know, he's improving on it every single time because he's trying to make the best enjoyment everybody can if they're going to travel to come to something like that. First year, you know, didn't have any location to huddle at, to sit down at, to eat at, or whatever. Next time it was good, but you know, now he's improving even more.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a separate question
okay, go
for all
ahead.
of you guys, and I put it in the live chat a little bit there. But so we've talked about stress. Do you guys feel there's, and yes, it kind of goes without saying, but different stress levels, right? We all have different stress levels, different thresholds that, you know, hey, a simple 5-minute ride will take care of it, or just a walk around the block versus you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, I need to talk to somebody about this. You know, this is more than I feel like I want to handle right now. Does that make sense? Is there, when it comes to motorcycle riding versus sitting down with a buddy that rides or whatever, do you all have those different stress levels? Is there a threshold? Like Andy says, you know, his wife's a good listener, and then there's times where she understands that it's like, I won't mess with you. You know, do your quiet time or whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Go ahead, CDL.
I can say, God, I've never really been officially diagnosed with it, but there's sometimes I feel like I do have like a bipolar type of thing going on, and I don't know if that's just, Google it and see, this is what it is. It's that, you know, there's times that like I'll get so pissed off or enraged about something, and it's dumb shit. It's not just that. It's probably an accumulation of all the other shit that happened leading up to that point. And there's times, you know, like I'll be home 15 minutes between my jobs sometimes because I'll come home and like I got to hurry up, get in the shower, get to my next job, you know, because I got a 45-minute drive. And I know there's times I've snapped at my wife. She'll say something, "How's your day?" "What sucks?" You know, and it's not her fault. But sometimes I just later on, my wife knows, just leave me alone when I get like that. And I'm the type of person I just need to be left alone, I think. I don't know necessarily talking to somebody about it. I might say something later on to my wife, you know, because I feel bad about what I did. You know, getting pissed at her when it has nothing to do with her other than she said hi. You know, it's like that snap happens. I'm like, you know, I think about it later. I'm like, I need to calm the fuck down. It was not her fault.
Yeah.
Work pissed me off or something. And, you know, my wife understands that. Like when I get to a certain way, just don't say nothing. Not even hi. Because sometimes hi is that firecracker, you know, lighting the firecracker. And, you know, I've always been that way. I was that way when I was a teenager. You know, I would get to that point where I was really angry, and then I would get really depressed afterward. I'd feel like shit if I took it out, you know, on somebody else, and I'm an idiot. I've had that. I don't know. Talking to people, I went to counseling a couple times to talk to people, especially when I went through my divorce. Divorce part was really the tough part.
Yeah.
That's, I think, probably when I hit my lowest. And I don't know. I'll talk about it on here now, too. It's the closest I probably ever came to suicide was probably when I got divorced from my ex-wife. Now, looking back in it in retrospect, I'm like, that was stupid. We never got along. There's no reason we should have been together, you know. But the whole thing that kept me going was the fact that I had a 2-year-old daughter at that time. And I'm like, and I've told my daughter this too. I'm like, if you hadn't been born, I'd be gone. I wouldn't have been here. I didn't see any purpose at 30-something years old. I'm never going to meet anybody. I'm going to be by myself. You know, that was probably my lowest moment in my life. Then, you know, when I went to like a Christian counselor, because really the other ones are all about, well, our session's an hour, you pay me this much, and blah, blah, blah. You know,
Yeah.
where the Christian, you paid the Christian counselor, but they were like, all right, whatever money you got, $25, leave a donation, but whatever, you know, believe in God or don't believe in God. That's probably of all, if I talk to anyone, that was probably the best counseling I ever went to.
Yeah.
But
I'd agree with that. In my experience
Yeah.
with counselors, it's yeah. I mean, you bring it, you link it right to what Jason said earlier. Is when you're sitting down with a counselor, it's a lot of times you get caught up in the, first of all, they want to know what your purpose of being here is. It's to fucking talk, to get things off my chest. It's not, they want to know an end game. Okay, well, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, there ain't no this ain't no book. There's no script for this kind of stuff. I mean, yes, there's signs and symptoms, but that doesn't mean every single person's reactions and understanding and acknowledgement of what they're going through is in a script that's going to get solved in 2 hours by the end of a damn movie. It's versus somebody just says, "Hey, talk, I'm here."
Yeah.
I mean, Andy that's what I was saying. He brings up some great points with what he's talking about there. Start going in the garage and cleaning stuff or splitting firewood. I mean, I just.
Yeah.
Well, I just mentioned earlier that I have 3 people that I talk to. I don't know what you call them, psychiatrists, psychologists, whatever they are. But there's times when they say, well, how was this week? Oh, well, the wife changed plans and I started yelling and screaming. And, well, how did that make you feel? How do you feel about it? I don't want to talk about how I feel about it. What I want to talk about is she changed plans and it messed with my thought pattern or my plan of how it was going, and she was wrong. Is that correct? Is that right? Is that how the truth is? It don't matter. Something didn't go the way I wanted it to go, and I wanted to blow up. I wanted to blow off steam. I wanted to break something. I wanted to throw something. I wanted to go to the garage where she wasn't at, and that's all that matters. So, it's having that outside person to talk to helps. I don't want to analyze the situation. I don't care why I reacted that way. I don't care how I felt when I reacted that way. The point was, shit didn't go the way I wanted it to go, and I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you just need. Sometimes you just need to blow off steam. Like you're like, I'm right. Well, after a while, you're like, well, maybe I wasn't right. I'm not. Maybe this was stupid for me to get mad about. Something like that.
But that didn't matter at the time. At the time, I want to blow off steam.
Right. Now, Jay, and Easy Traveler brings it up right there. My son has unfortunately inherited a trigger temper from my wife and I. I mean, for me, over the years, the trigger temper has grown. I used to be extremely patient. Now I, get ticked off with dickheads and idiots. But I've told him he gets wrapped up. He's like dad. He gets very competitive about things, and in video games, if he's losing something or if something doesn't go his way or whatever, I've heard him stomping on the ground upstairs in the house or wherever we live. And I've told him, I'm like, dude, punch your – do you need me to buy you a punching bag to put in your room so you can turn around and let some of that anger out? Don't punch walls. Don't punch things like that. Punch a pillow. Whatever. But, there's been times where like – and this took, we've been married almost 20 years. This took, and for, y'all know this, if you've been married a long time, it takes years to develop this, not just what you do, but how you recognize what your spouse does or your significant other does versus her also recognizing you. Like what Andy says, there's been times where I've just been pissed off about a situation, like Jason says, and it's like, I'll deal with it. It's not by verbalizing it. I know in my head, it's not something it's a sword worth falling on because it's just something about me. Something's pissing me off right now. Yeah. I'll deal with it in my head and give me a couple hours and it'll be gone, but.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of which, all that, I will say, as I said before, I do have a very great support group. My family, Christian and the boys both know. what's going on. But on the side chat here, me and HD ADV Traveler, talking about going to the gym, and he said nothing like hitting that bag really hard. And I said, I bet, just have to find the time. And then I said, I know. And I think that's another thing too with the way society's been, is we've loaded ourselves up so much. As CDL said, work 2 jobs. I've done that before. I used to work 2 full-time jobs. 7 days a week. I was working 90 to 110 hours. Right now, I only work a 40-hour job, but I'm also in college working on my doctorate. And, Kristen was in nursing school for 2 years. She recently finished, but, and then there's all the stuff about being a parent. Our oldest son is on the spectrum. So, there's those concerns, and, there's always just something. And it just seems like no matter what we do, it's just so hard to carve out time. I mean, I know you have to make that time, but it just seems really, really hard to do.
Yeah. That's what I figured today would be a pretty heavy discussion. Like I said, I see a few people. Well, we still got about the same amount of people watching, but a few new people. But we just talked about mental health and motorcycles, and last couple minutes, if people want to go back and watch this, we were talking about some of our own personal issues and things in the past. But I think now we're going to kind of cut out of that, the mental health stuff, and start wrapping it up. I guess we could talk about a couple meetups or whatever, and anything else going on, and we'll wrap it up. We're about an hour and a half in now.
One last thing real quick, based on Rogue Glad Andrew's last post there. As far as the drywall, I get it. There was one time many years ago before I met my wife, I got into an argument with my then girlfriend, and I took my hands and went down like that on a glass table and ended up with like all kinds of stitches all over my hands. So yeah, it definitely. I mean, sometimes you just do what we just do what we do, but it definitely doesn't help. But anyways,
All right. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add as far as the mental health part. We can kind of go into.
Start in this part of wrap up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with me, I think it's pretty obvious with the professional wrestling and the headshots. I pretty much have stage 1 CTE at this point. So if I go down the list, it's like, this is pretty blatant of what's going on here. So, but the thing that sucks about that is it's a physical thing, but there's absolutely nothing any doctor or anything right now in the medical field that they can do for you. They're just like, we're just going to keep an eye on it. There's not even like any real scans, like no CAT scan, like anything that will really focus right on that part of the brain or they can even see it. So it's like, all right, you got to be mindful of it and be like, all right, is this really just something going on, or is this really something physical with my brain going on? So that's something that we keep kind of going back and forth on.
That's something, and you bring up, that's a good point there, Ryan, because we've told that to our kids, because they both have, my son has ADHD, my daughter has ADD, and they both were on medication. My son he has started a low medication now, just to see if he wants to look at going back on it before going to college, because of the stress and all that with education and processing and doing ACTs and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But one thing we always used to tell them growing up, and I say this to anybody, it's not a crutch, right? We tell them, hey, the thing is, a lot of people these days, the danger is in some cases they want to medicate to relieve themselves of responsibility to keep it in check, if that makes sense. Right. It's like, just because you have this, or you have the bipolarism, or just because you snap at things, that's your responsibility to control. If you need to medicate for it, fine, but don't, like Chris said, don't take it out on other people, and don't get mad about situations and cause others pain just because you're not wanting to keep your own self in check. It's the same thing as what Jason just shared, the Veterans Helpline. That's one thing y'all got to understand about this as well, is motorcycling is self-therapy, but sometimes we have to reach out. Mm-hmm. You need to, because if you don't, and I can handle it myself. Okay, you can. Sometimes you can't.
You can until you can't.
Right. So and the problem is, you can until you can't, and then when you can't, it's going on some kind of record. It's going on some kind of a record involving police or therapy or restrictions for the rest of your life. So,
All right. Good talk, everybody. Like I said, this was something. It was tough all week thinking about things to talk about for this topic, I guess, and worried about how open people wanted to be with their situations, I guess, personally. But like I said,
Sean, the difference in that little pill is the color of the little pill.
Yep.
All right. Do we want to talk about meetups or anything? Anything changed with the meetups that we know about so far?
Well, I know, Jason, you've got the OWN, right, going on, and there's a Facebook page for it. I haven't been to it recently, but I know
I'm going to jump on it today. I don't think I've officially joined it or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to be going to that. We're going to try and make VAM. But then I just don't know because it's so close to the Route 66 trip, and the Route 66 trip is the one trip this year, no matter what I'm going to be doing. So we'll have to see if both Chris and I want to make VAM. We'd love to be there, but I guess I just have to see what we can do. I mean, if we have to cut VAM short I'd rather be there and cut it short by a day than not go at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, VAM is actually in Richland, Virginia, instead of Tazewell. I think we're still meeting at the Sonic on
Sonic.
It's only a few miles. It's only like 11 or 12 miles away from it. If for those of you that don't know, if you do it like a hotel search, that same Holiday Inn Express that we've stayed at the last 2 times, and the Finn Castle, like that Chris has stayed at, and whatever else, they are still within. They're going to tell you that's within the same traveling distance as if you're going to Tazewell. So
same thing with the Super 8.
Yep, book the same locations. It's no different.
Yeah, I know Black Phoenix and I both moved over closer to Richland.
Super 8.
One, it's actually cheaper, the hotel we booked, because now Finn Castle, since we've been financing them the last 3 years, started raising their prices up. So, their prices started going up. So, now that they got motovlogger stickers up, the place is fancier than it was in the past. But we just moved up closer to Richland's, just easier for the main hub, I guess. It's only 10 miles, but there's a Hardee's still there. You can still eat at Hardee's if you really want to.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But if anybody ends up at the Super 8 in Claypool, right around the corner is a kick-ass pizza place. I don't remember the name of it because that was back in 2021, but that was the closest to New York style pizza I've had outside of New York.
Yeah. And of course, I know the main hotel for OWN is not the same as it was initially anyway. I know it's been about a month or so since you've changed it.
Well, initially they had offered the University Inn, but they didn't have any rooms available. So we never actually put the University Inn out there. It was just kind of mentioned. The Facebook page and everything is it's a Quality Inn. They have given us a prime rate. You got to call in for that. And if you want the swag bags, dude, just the swag bags. Hang on here. The swag bags are getting crazy. Of course, Mr. McStash's swag. You know how that goes. Let's see if we can get that in there. Is that focused? Let me go over to my live stream, see if it's actually focusing. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
we got pins, we got stickers, we got dude. It's gonna be. It's definitely gonna be worth the $30 between a T-shirt and dinner alone, let alone some of the extra stuff that's coming along. So, if you want to do that, heck, it'd be worth the $30 if you can't make the dinner. But it's a Friday night. We have the dinner will be catered. You will show up at the hotel. The food will be there. You're not going to have to wait on anything. You choose chicken or shredded chicken or pulled pork. So,
I will say this too. You seeing pigs, and I will say this from the perspective like with VAM. I agree with you in that instance as far as staying at another location. However, I would also say that if you have they have this particular Quality Inn, they've got it set up to be kind of like the central meeting point, hangout point type of thing.
Yeah.
So one thing that you can take away from this is by staying at the same place.
Yeah.
Removes you from having to, if you want to have some libations or whatever, bring some stuff back to the hotel and hang out with everybody there. You're not putting any onus on yourself as far as having to ride anywhere. And I'm sure, I know you are more than capable of what you're thinking about, what you're talking about, and it's just another option to put out there. But just so everybody can understand that.
Yeah. The first meetup I went to was that one in West Virginia. That we had a couple years ago, and everybody stayed at that hotel with the exception of maybe one or two people.
Yeah.
But there was where I was hanging out with JT Southern Friday that last night till 2 a.m. at the picnic table doing nothing, out there bullshitting and drinking a 6-pack of beer,
Yeah.
Didn't have to worry about, all right, I got to go home and get some sleep before the ride home. All I had to do was walk back up to my room and lay my head on a pillow,
And there was a couple that come up in that group and said, "Hey, look, we partake a little bit too much last night, and we're going to do our own little group over here because we shouldn't be riding with." And that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a good point too.
Yeah. Yep. But I think that was it.
I think we have the Ohio Winding On, and then we're doing the 120th HD rally.
Yeah.
It's on the same weekend as VAM, unfortunately. But we're looking forward to linking up with people and hanging out with you guys at whoever shows up at whatever of those locations.
Yeah. So no, I'm booked for both VAM and OWN. So that'll be my two meetups for the year.
Laconia 100th this year too, which I'm definitely going to do. And I think a few people are coming out to New England. I think we're going to try to do some sort of New England meet at some point. So
I know Full Throttle Hog Ryan's going to be there. So
yeah. So whether I meet up with some people at Laconia, or we do our own thing. We'll kind of see how that goes.
I say it would be nice to get a meetup up that way, or even like the Poconos or Adirondacks or something one year.
Yeah, see the Poconos, I can get there in a day, so that would be fun.
A lot of nice riding out that way. I've never ridden out there, but I just know how the hills and the mountains and stuff are.
I've driven out there.
Yeah. Yeah. With that, anybody got anything else they want to share?
No. Get your pet spayed or neutered.
Get your anonymous biker spayed or neutered. Always entertaining, even when we have serious subject matters to talk about.
Yeah.
What are you riding this year, Randy?
Where to?
Yeah.
We know one for sure.
Spring Fling.
I'll be Spring Fling in April.
He's going to the 120th too.
West Virginia in May, and then June will be the Winding Nine. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do the HD 120 in July. I was going to do it, but I'm kind of having second thoughts. I may travel down to Texas. I have a buddy that lives in San Antonio. I haven't seen him in a while.
Is such an awesome city.
So he wants to do like a 1K in a day. So I might meet him halfway or something like that.
That's nice. San Antonio is a beautiful city.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he just bought
a history.
He just bought a house down there, so I'd like to go down and see it. So I have a free place to stay. So
there you go.
So I may do that, and then I don't know what I'm going to do the rest of the year. It's kind of up in the air. I'm already thinking about next year.
We have to. We got a family cruise. As I said that before, we had a family cruise we're doing in February of next year, so we have to. That's why we're not doing Route 66 and some other stuff, because cruises are not freaking cheap.
No, they're not.
Nothing's cheap anymore.
Right.
It's like insurance the other day, I got hit hard. I'm like, God, I can't do anything.
Dude, it costs for we're taking with our kids coming. We're doing 2 staterooms. We're going to do 3, but it's not even including drink packages or meal packages or anything else. Just the staterooms alone are almost $7,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
So
I believe it.
And that's not including us getting down there to the port in Miami
exactly
and back.
I always wanted to go on an Alaskan cruise.
My brother did
outrageous.
I want to do that just to rent a bike while I'm up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see you like instead of a semi, a bear coming after you.
Right, right.
Grizzly up here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm not planning out too far ahead because my daughter graduates high school next year too. So don't know what's going to happen with that yet. How my summer will be.
Well, that's the other thing. My son is graduating this
It's
year.
not a cruise, pig.
I'm going to say, I do too. But you have to raise your right hand and say, I will faithfully defend the Constitution.
Yeah, that's what he did for a living. He cruised around for 20 years for a living.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm hoping to meet up with everybody this year at some point, sometime, somehow. You know, I have the ones that I have definitely scheduled, but my plan is 20,000 miles a year. I'm saying 20,000 miles this year to make up for lost time. It just whether what model I'm going to be on and if it's going to be 2 or 3 wheels. So,
Yeah.
Did you say what bottle you're going to be on?
Model.
I don't know which model.
You know me. I'm dry. You know me. I'm dry.
I know that. I just was like,
Going in dry.
I have no problem. Pick the bottle. I'll meet you there.
I have been known to not say no to some Patron on occasion, but for the most part, I'm dry.
You say petroleum?
Well, that too, but Patron. I wish it was petroleum. It's actually cheaper.
Just don't say you've been known to partake in a White Claw every so often. I'd be like, okay, we're done.
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Maybe a White Russian, not a White Claw.
Wait, hold on. Hey, never mind.
It's got
Don't hate him, Kristen. Don't hate him, Kristen.
All right, everybody. I think I'm going to call it. We did
All right.
enough for one day.
Thanks, everybody.
Save some of this for the next
as
one.
always.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for
guys.
having us.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us,
And
everybody.
as always, reach out. If you need help, reach out, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, reach out like Randy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Send us your money. Sponsors, send us your money.
Call me maybe.
If you need help.
Oh,
Hey,
have you
Bye,
get
everybody.
safe.
Yeah.
get home safe.